Hi, everybody. This is your host, John Toker from Car Biz Insider. I have a very special guest here with me today, Xavier Kleinermann from Honda Financial Services. Xavier, how are you doing today?
John, how are you? Great to talk to you.
Thanks for being on the show. I like to apologize from people who's waiting for the show because we had some connection issues. Because Xavier has a very strong security system on his computers. It
Sorry
prevented
about
us
that,
to start.
John.
But thanks for joining today. So, Xavier, how's your days going? How is this chip shortage affecting you and all that stuff? Why don't you introduce yourself to the listeners and viewers and tell
Hey,
us what you do for Honda Financial Services and a little bit your background? And we can talk about your organization that you're part of too. So, why don't you introduce yourself to us today?
hey, that's a lot of questions here. Thanks, John.
No,
Just congratulations for your podcast. I've been following it since the beginning. You started a couple episodes ago, and I find the quality just amazing. So just keep doing what you're doing. You put
thank
the bar really, really high, you know. So I'm Xavier. I work for Honda Financial Services. I've been with the automotive industry since 2014. When I started in the automotive, I had the choice in between a job at a bank and Honda, a 1 year contract with Honda. And my gut feeling told me to go with Honda, and I've never been looking. I never regretted it since then. So I've been with Honda for the last 8 years, I guess, going on 8 years. Start with Honda Financial Services, started with in customer service, and worked my way to where I am right now in remarketing, where I've been since 2018. And I guess I landed in remarketing at the perfect time, just before all the interesting parts of remarketing happened with COVID and the pandemic and everything like that, and the chip shortage and things. So it's been an exciting time. There hasn't been a single Monday that I haven't been unhappy to go to work. I've always woken up and excited to go to work, and knocking on wood, hopefully it will stay that way.
that's good. You guys have a really good team there that you guys working together. So, I mean, and Honda vehicles are hold their value really good when you're were to trying to remarket them. And why don't you talk about your latest appointment to? Is it IARA? Is that the International Automotive Remarketers Alliance?
Correct.
Right?
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. So, yeah, the IRA is an industry organization, and it stands for, like you said, the International Automotive Remarketing Alliance. It's a remarketing organization. I always say that remarketing is like a hidden gem. It's a, it's a reflection of the global economy. I think the automotive industry is a reflection of the global economy, and the remarketing industry is a reflection of that on a smaller scale. Well, I should say maybe big scale, because the used car industry is pretty big. So I was appointed, yeah, on February 1st as the co-chair for Canada for the IARA. So basically, what it is, it's an industry organization that tries to promote standards and networking, and to try to communicate with the industry about different key aspects and key topics of the remarketing. We want to be basically the go-to platform for the industry to assist, educate, and share knowledge with our industry and with our partners, and so that our members can have uh, get away with efficiencies and achieve better prices, maybe in their sales, to share tips and things like that. So we do that through different events. We have 4 yearly events, main events or quarterly updates, and then we'll have an introduction to remarketing 101. We'll do that twice a year for people who are unfamiliar with remarketing. And then we'll have, obviously, the conference, the yearly conference up here in Canada. The US has several of them that we do in Toronto in partnership with Bill Zadites and his team from Cherokee Media Group.
That's really good. Congratulations on the appointment. Um, would you? So you're talking about remarketing 101. Why don't you explain what remarketing is for people who may not be familiar with? Because we got a lot of people watch this from different experience levels from car business, right? So somebody may just join the car business, start selling cars like 3 months ago, may not be familiar with the term remarketing. Why don't you like briefly explain what remarketing is? What does remarketers do, and what's that exactly mean?
That's an amazing question. I find myself, myself when I started in the automotive, I didn't know what remarketing was. It took me several years before I bumped into it and saw exactly what it was and fell absolutely in love with it. So, the simplest way to describe remarketing is imagine someone who's injecting used cars into a market. In our case, it's in the Canadian market, so we inject used cars into the Canadian market. So when you walk in front of a dealership, they're selling used cars, they're selling new cars. Well, where did these used cars come from? Well, these used cars came from auction. They also, from trade-ins, but we are like the auction part. So we sell at Honda, we sell before the pandemic, let's say, we would sell thousands and thousands of cars a year through the whole country, through the different auction houses. And dealerships are the ones who assist to the auctions, who buy from us, who are our main buyers. And that's that. I think that's a brief way to answer the question. It's really that, fueling in the Canadian automotive industry, the Canadian automotive market, used cars.
So you basically, because you work for the manufacturer, so when Honda needs to sell those used cars, probably they come back from lease returns, most likely, right? And then if that car's like, let's say the person leases the car, didn't buy the car out, or the dealership doesn't want to buy that car, then you just find a new home for those cars, basically, right? Help out the manufacturer.
That's that. So there's lease returns. You also have repossessions. You also have company cars. There's different sources of where you find these cars, and that you'll put on auction after that. So it's exactly that: finding a new home, finding a good home, and giving our dealers an amazing product to buy. That's really the key part of it.
So especially now, right? Like dealers don't have enough new cars to sell, but now you probably don't have much cars to remarket anyways, because like I'm sure everybody's holding on to the cars as best as they within their abilities, right? Would you say that happening? Like because of the pandemic chip shortage, do you find you're remarketing less cars to in the auction channels, do you think?
Oh, I think that's something that's not only me saying it. I think that's a global phenomenon, as far as I can see. For sure, yeah. Our inventory are not the same as they used to be. We try to offer our dealers the best we have, all we have, and there's definitely a difference in our remarketing levels from before the pandemic. Yes, it's actually a great thing to see. Well, I mean, it's not great not to have the product to sell or having very little product to sell, but you see, how the whole economy of used cars is going, switching from, a lot to offer and prices that were a little bit lower to now a little bit less to offer, or quite a bit less to offer, to prices spiking. It's and with that global chip shortage that you've talked about. We hope that they'll figure it out very soon. And not to throw in any dates there, I don't want to compromise myself, but
No secret information there.
but yeah, hopefully, very soon we'll be able to find everything that a balance in the industry. I don't think we'll see prices like we had. The price will still be very high for the used cars. I don't think they'll go back anytime soon to what it was before the pandemic. And for what everyone is talking about, I think we're in there with strong prices until 2025, around there.
But Xavier, you remember like in the last 3 years, I think, or 2 years, Canadian Black Book awarded Honda being the most retained value, right? And that means that the resale value of the product is historically always high with the Honda because of the demand on the vehicle, right? And the reliability and the reputation of the brand. So you always see that anyways, like when you send a car to the auction, it always is a high demand product, right? You see that happening anyways.
It's a high demand product, and yes, Honda had a great reputation before. We still do, but not at this level of what it is right now, the price that we're seeing right now, that's just, out of this world. It's never seen before. So it's a interesting time. I was actually thinking yesterday about, everyone, we all say, we've never seen this before. And yes, in our lifetime, we've never seen it before. But yesterday I was thinking about the podcast and I said, well, you know what, actually after World War II, what was the state of the automotive industry? And dealers had no cars to sell, and new cars were there was a big shortage in new cars. Obviously, you're not talking about an industry with the amount of production that it has right now, but it was a little bit of a similar situation. Probably people scrambling to find cars to sell, and people having to wait for several months prior to getting finally buy their product or their car, right? So it's a once in 100 years
Event.
event, yeah, that we are going through. Exactly.
Yeah, no, it's you're absolutely right. Like the stuff that happening right now is I don't think we'll ever have something like this. And probably the next one is going to be the electrification, right? Once we start selling everything electric, then we're going to have a big event like this again. But I think it's the biggest. Just off topic question I like to ask you because I know you speak multiple languages. How many total languages do you speak? Because of
Uh,
your European background, right? So you got
that's
what,
a,
5 or 4?
that's the thing is, and I'm from Belgium, which is a very small country. I don't know how many tens or maybe hundreds of times Belgium fits into Canada. But so if you don't speak another language, we have three national languages. I don't speak all three of them. So if you don't speak any other foreign language, well, you're lost. You're going absolutely nowhere, right? So I've had the privilege to study in a couple different countries. So I'm at I'd say five, give or take.
5 languages?
Yeah.
Wow. So you speak probably French, Dutch, English. What are the other two?
Spanish and Italian.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing. So in Belgium, just again off topic question. What are the national languages? So French, Dutch, and what's the third one?
German.
Oh, German
So
is a national language. Oh, I didn't know that. Wow.
yeah, it's a minority of the population. But Belgium is a little bit similar to what Canada is, and we like to say we are cousins for the simple reason that Canada is a country with two different national languages. You're next to someone who, on the international sphere, takes a lot of importance, and it's the same for us. We are next to France. We have three national languages. We're really good at diplomacy, so
No,
we have all the European institutions there in Brussels.
yeah, I know it's huge, man. It's been going on for years, and the reason I know Belgium like that because I was watching this TV show on Netflix, and it's a Belgium like from Belgium, right? And I see they like going back and forth in French and Dutch when in the show. So I
Yeah,
knew that that was the.
in my family, my brother is married to a girl from the Dutch side of Belgium. My other sister to a guy from the Dutch side of Belgium as well. So at the end of the day, everything is doing great. It's a very small country and very 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 rich cultures as well.
I know one word in Dutch how to say, and it's supposed to mean good or like delicious or yummy.
What is
You
it?
say lekker, lekker.
Lekker, yeah.
Yeah, that's
You
like
could
it's
also say
nice, right?
goed. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because I had friends who were living in Holland and Netherlands, and I was learning from them. And like back when I was a kid growing up, and they were keep saying "lekker, lekker" to everything. I'm like, "What's that mean?" They say it means good, like yummy, nice. Like it's the response they do it right. I think
Yeah.
is a good response.
In Toronto,
So,
exactly. Yeah. In Toronto, actually, you've got a place, a Belgian food place, somewhere that's the Lekker is the name of the store as well. So
oh,
look it up.
nice.
Look it up. It's really good.
Yeah, it's Lekker. I think
That's right.
lekker.
Yeah.
That's how you spell it. Perfect, man. Okay, well, going back to the topic. So I had some questions for you. So you pretty much answered. We were talking about it, right? So one question I have is that I forgot to ask you this. In your profile on LinkedIn, you have an acronym, stands for CAR, CAR. What is that, and how did you qualify for that title? Like, what did you need to do to get that?
Yeah, so CAR is certifications certified in automotive remarketing.
Sure.
It is a certification, the premier certification in the industry. It's actually done by the IARA. So what it is, it's basically an overview of all of the different topics that you find in automotive remarketing. There's 20 modules, and they're regrouped in 5 different chapters. So you have the remarketing channels, you have the pre-sales activities, actual sales activities, you obviously done the post-sales activities, and then the whole legal ethics and remarketing technologies terminology. Sorry. So these are the 5 aspects. So you do that certification, and we have more and more in Canada. We have 25 graduates from the CAR certification since we started 2 years ago, and then we in the US we have obviously a lot more. It's a great thing to have, especially even if you're not maybe directly related to remarketing. I'd say because it really helps you understand basically the key topics of remarketing. If you're like in legal, or if you're an exec, a C-suite exec, or whatever, if you're new in this industry as well, it's a great thing to have because it's a very fast, specific, and global 360 view, basically, of the remarketing industry. So that's what it stands for. Yeah.
So basically, listening this and learning from you about the remarketing perspective, I think it could be very beneficial for large auto groups to have at least one of their associates or employees to be part of this because, we got big auto groups in Greater Toronto area. They own multiple stores, more than 10, 30, 40, right? Big people. I think it would be have to some at least one of their members who take care of auctioning cars, remarketing, to get educated and do this professionally through your organization. So the question is your organization only open to OEMs, or is it open to a group can say, okay, so Jack is working for ABC Auto Group. He's taking care of our remarketing in the auction in Mannheim or Edessa or Trade Rev, you name it, right?
Yeah.
We would like to get him involved with your organization and get trained on it properly and do this professionally. Is this a capability? Could they reach you out? Would you help them to join? Like, is that something?
100%. 100%. It's actually, we are still in the growing stage of the IRA here in Canada. We came, we came to be a little bit later than the US. The US has had it for the last 20 years. So this is actually one of the next steps we want to do is to open up to dealer groups, and exactly for things like that, to give them value. I think today it's hugely important to be part of an industry organization. You've got so many benefits. Call it networking, call it education, advocacy, information. It's huge for your employees, for them to develop, for salespeople to develop in what they do for, especially in the used car aspect, and also to have that go-to place to find, if you have questions about the industry, if you want to know what's the future of the industry will be, if you want things like that, and also to raise your voice, right? Because it's not the organization is as good as the members are if the members take part of it and bring important topics like that on the table. So I see it as an amazing networking opportunity, and yeah, we definitely encourage dealer groups to be part of it as much as they can. So we have a website, iara.biz. On that website, you'll see there's a Canadian little flag on the left side. So they can always, or they can reach out to me through LinkedIn as well. So these are the.
So you're open to help dealer groups if they want to come and ask you questions, learn more about this, and you're willing
100%.
to okay.
Yeah, 100%.
So and you like to be reached on LinkedIn? That's the best place to reach you out.
I'd say the first about that specifically, they can definitely go to the website, and there's a contact there, and they'll be directed to us at the end of the day. But if they want to do LinkedIn as well, they can.
That's good stuff because I don't think in Canada there's remarketing aspect of things, but like in a lot of aspects back in the days when I first started selling cars, and remarketing means called the wholesaler and said, what this car worth? Right? That was the remarketing. You call Bob hey Bob, I got this car here. What do you think it's worth? And they're like, it worth. Oh, the black book calls for 5,000, but the black book doesn't write the checks for it. It's only gonna worth $4,000. But then we tell the guy, but the auction averages, yeah. Then you take it to auction. It's getting much better with these digital platforms like TradeRev and or what's the other one, eBlock. It's getting much better, much professional. But I think it would be a good idea for big organizations to join an organization like yours to get educated on it, because you can leave a lot of money on the table too, right? By making a mistake. And remarketing is crucially important because right now, not a big problem, but when things start to go back to normal, the high volume, you start turning around inventory, and then trade-ins coming back, and some cars you're not going to be able to keep it in. You need to remarket those vehicles, not retail, but wholesale it. You want to get as much as money you can for those units. So then that means you can give as much as money to your customers to trade those cars in. So then you can create that kind of ecosystem. So I think it would be a great idea to people to reach you out and learn more about and educate it, because you do this for an OEM level and a professionally, right? Like there's guidelines and standards and policies and procedures to maximize that kind of income for on the financial services. That helps out with the residual values of the company. So I think it's the remarketing is a very it's a crucial part of the ecosystem of car business, because you may not necessarily retail every single car, and which is okay, because sometimes it doesn't work out for your situation. You need to get out of it. It's still a lot of cash, and how fast you can do it, and how fast you can get paid on it. Because I remember the days the big auto groups send cars to the auction. Goes there, doesn't sell, stays there. All of a sudden, 3 months later, they realize that they've been paying for parking spots for those cars because they don't get that minimum reserve they put it in there, right? So like, I think your organization probably trains people on that, like how to monitor that, how to be efficient on it. So good stuff, man. That's really good. It's another aspect.
You bring up a great point, John, and that's about what you were saying. And also I think with over the last couple of years, we've seen different new actors coming up in the used car business, called like Caravana, Canada Drives, etc. All these big online sales platforms that are open to public, where public can just go, and these guys are also competitors to our dealerships and to used car dealerships as well. So you've got this. You've got the second thing is consumers are also more aware have more access to information and education. So whenever they step into your dealership, they'll be much more educated, and they'll probably have a pretty good idea of what their car is worth. So I think it's very important for dealers to, in that sense, to adapt to that, and being able to give their customers like a price their customers' cars very accurately, to not leave any money on the table. Yeah, exactly. So there's so many new challenges that we are facing. I think that you have to take into consideration to maximize your sales as well.
So since you're saying that, what do you think is the biggest challenge in the business right now overall? You would pick one item and
pick one item. You know what? We have so many challenges right now. Just pick and choose, But no, I think it's definitely the electrification, the transition to electrification. That was already the case before the pandemic. I think that would be one of the main challenges with so many big unknowns. I think I would put that as first. In remarketing, for example, if I apply it to remarketing, we don't really know don't have a lot of information yet on how the residual price of the electric car is. We don't know the battery percentage, the battery life percentage will be after, say, 10 years, 8 years. How you also the how do you call it, the places, to I don't have the word right now, but the places to charge your battery, for example, your car batteries, people have them at home, but it's not developed yet as much as
the charging stations.
The charging station, there's not a term I had, but whatever. So there's so many unknowns still for that. So I think that is driving a lot of the current challenges that we are facing. In a sense, maybe is the fact having a little inventory a good thing for that, because it can maybe help people to get into used electric cars. That's we could go on and on about that topic.
Well, there's a lot of challenges, definitely. So the last question I like to ask you is, what would you suggest car dealerships to overcome used car shortage? Because any dealer right now I talk to, they're complaining about the new car situation. Then we say used cars, then they say, where are we going to get the used cars from? So
Well,
what would you
John,
suggest?
if I knew the answer to that question, I'll be probably a billionaire now. But no, it's an amazing question. Yeah, our dealers, we've seen our dealers have been tremendous, really incredible at adapting to the challenges of the pandemic from day one. And we've seen them. Last week you had on your show, you had our friends
Dave
there from
Barber,
Dave
Northern
Barber,
Honda.
exactly, yeah,
Yeah.
from Northern Honda on your show, and who had like this amazing system, about delivering the car to the customer in a truck and trailer, which
Well,
many
that's
other.
that's Midland Honda, Richard
That,
Davies.
oh, that was for Richard. Oh, okay, that was
Yeah.
Richard. Yeah, okay. So and I think that came from they switched towards digitalization and buying a car at one touch of the one click of the mouse. So that's one answer, but that doesn't answer the question. I think there's dealers have been able to purchase cars from customers to do trade-ins and attract people to their dealership to do those trade-ins and find new strategies in there to be able to attract the most car possibles, because the traditional ways of acquiring used cars were maybe not as filled with opportunities and new cars, used cars to buy. So I think that's one great thing they've been doing, is they've been being very innovative to attract the customers. I think it's at the end of the day, it's all about that, being always open to innovation. It's also about maybe changing the atmosphere, the changing the relationship with your customers, having a more personalized relationship. You also want to become the obvious dealer that your customer will think about when it's time to sell their cars. So that means that you have to create some kind of authority of legitimacy in their mind as well. That means that they need to have respect for you. That means that they need to see you maybe in doing genuine things. There was an amazing chat we had with a couple dealers a couple of weeks ago on Clubhouse, and was exactly about that. It was about doing philanthropy, doing things like that will mark customers' mind, so that in the future they'll come to you because you're part of the community, you're an actor in the community, and they'll want to give you their used car and maybe buy a new one from you or something like that. So philanthropy, I think, is a big thing. Finding innovation, being curious to innovation. Maybe the systems that are in place right now can be innovated, can be changed. Think about the metaverse, things like that. These are to attract customers to go and pick their curiosity. I would say that at least these two. And then obviously online auctions are always the best place to go to
So
find used
right,
cars.
so when you're remarketing cars right now, like, do you see the most of the business is done through these digital auctions, such as like eDealer and eBlock? Sorry, eBlock and TradeRev type of stuff is more popular. Do you think? Let me
Yeah, I
put it
think,
this way:
well,
Do you
yeah.
think they're going to surpass the physical auctions in near future, or do you think the physical auctions will still be there for a long time? What's your personal opinion on that?
That's a great question. I think for us, for Honda, we already were selling most of our units through digital auction before the pandemic.
Yeah.
So that was a big thing. I think physical auctions will still have meaning people at the end of the day need to feel, they need to smell, they need to see, they need to touch. I think that cannot go away. I think I'm 100% confident digital auctions will become more and more digitalized and with incredible new tools and features. I think digital auctions will stay maybe for different kind of vehicles for locally. But yeah, I see it. I see the big answer will be in digital auctions.
Do you know what personally why I like the digital auctions more? Because it's more environmentally friendly. So a typical auction, so the car lands on your lot, you send it to a distance from your dealership, let's say another 40, 50, 60, 100 kilometers away. Because physical auctions, you can't have those in every corner. You need
Mm-hmm.
a big space. So let's say, for example, we take an example of North Bay dealership. They want to send the car to the auction. Where is the closest auction? 300 kilometers away, right? That car goes to 300 kilometers away. Then it gets sold, let's say, go back to Montreal or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of carbon footprint. I think digital auctions are good because the car has the physical location, the what do I call the first point of acquire. Like when you first acquire the vehicle, it's there. Then you can do a digital auction, sell that car. So then the next step, that car goes to where it's going to get resold again. So we
Mm-hmm.
save that extra trip to the physical auctions in terms of carbon footprint because then you
Oh,
burn less fossil fuels, right?
100%, 100%. It's an amazing point that you're bringing up. Also, I think it's a lot of money that you're saving in transportation fees.
Yeah.
So why would you send a car to physical auction when you can sell it from your lot online and just send the pictures and with proper pictures? I think that's another very important aspect, to have quality pictures and consistent pictures on your website.
Yeah. You got to look into the green aspect of your business because carbon footprint has a very bad effect on the health and all that stuff. And with the technology that we have, we should be able to avoid that because I like physical auctions. And if that's the case, like for instance, government auctions, right? It may not work for them. They send a physical, run it, makes sense. But an average dealership really should consider using digital channels because even the physical locations have capability of doing the digital stuff anyways, right? Like I remember
100%.
even before these digital tools, you could always put the car on like dealer avenue, dealer block, right? Those were like the still digital, but old version of it. Not as easy as those ones that you use your cell phone to snap. It was a little bit more cumbersome, but capabilities there. But I think uh I don't know what you guys stake like a stance on it as an organization, but I think the environment should be an important factor remarketing these vehicles to minimize the transportation between locations. Then it lends into the actual location to get sold, and then this could make a significant impact on the environment too. So,
Oh,
but
100%, John. 100%. And it's right there at the tip of your finger, right? It's easy to do. It doesn't take you, even you save money, like I just said. So why wouldn't you follow that route?
that's good, man. I appreciate your time. I know you gave us this time in your busy schedule. I don't want to take more of your time today. Is there anything else that you want to add to wrap this up? Any comments, suggestions, anything you want to share about anything pretty much before we wrap this up?
Hey, John. Well, that's pretty much it for me. But thank you very much for having me on the show. Maybe one thing, we have one meeting with for our next meeting. I think it's on March 26th with the IARA Canada for our first Q1 update. So obviously, it's open to all our members. And if some people are curious about the organization, well, they can always reach out to us through the website to know more about it. And that's on, I believe, Monday, March 26th. But the information is on our website. So we'd be glad to welcome them for to be introduced to the IRA.
What's the format of that
So
meeting?
it's
Is it going to be virtual or physical?
Yeah, so it's still virtual, as the situation in Ontario is here doesn't allow us to run physical events yet. So it will be a 2-hour, 2.5-hour meeting, virtual, with a chance to interact, with a chance to talk to other people, etc. So we encourage everyone to take part of it.
So March 26th.
That's right. Yeah. We actually have a guest speaker. His name is Thomas Engler. He's a startuper in the automotive industry. Amazing guy. He has an MBA from U of T, and he's going to talk about innovation and remarketing.
That's good. I suggest all the OEMs and probably pretty much all the OEMs are member of IAR and like your organization, anyways. But like auto groups could be an interesting, opportunity for them to educate their staff to make this more professionally, to maximize their income and and reduce the social impact in terms of environment and all that stuff too. Perfect. Well, I'll thank everybody today tuned in today, whether you're watching it or listening to it. This recorded live, but I will put this up on your favorite podcast place so you can listen to it. Or if you want to, if you missed this opportunity, you just joined in, you want to know what we were talking before, you can watch this again recorded on YouTube. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach Xavier. He's more than happy to help you. And I wish everybody a wonderful day. And I'll see you guys next Wednesday with my special guest.
Thanks a
Thank you,
lot,
everybody.
John. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Xavier. Have a good day.
Thank you, John.